guys and gals, never here from Drake Wayne Game, to send me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you on a Let's Play episode of Rain Check. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. We eventually stop next to a set of large double doors, but rather than opening them, the lion opens the nondescript door on the opposite side instead. Ah, Pendejo, I thought you were dead. Javier! Javier gets out of his chair and hurries over to examine me carefully. The rest of the Blackout members disperse inside the room, beginning chatting with Magnus on the far side. You're not hurt, are you? No, I'm fine. They didn't torch you, did they? What? No. Waterboarding? Solar gazing? What? No, none of that. They didn't hurt me, thankfully. Seriously, I'm fine. I promise. Good. I was worried about you when they tried contacting you, but the line didn't go through. Ah. I mean, they did lock me up in the kitchen for a couple hours, but that's about it. The fox stands on his toes to get a better look at my face, then steps on my foot. Ow! What was that for? Reaction time seems fine. Just double-checking if you're actually fine. Or if they give you any substances. Javier, please, I'm fine. I size up the fox, my brows furrowing at his demeanor. Well, what about you? How are you doing? Those stupid lion things didn't give you a hard time, did they? More importantly, how'd you know Magnus was going to be here? Those guys? Nothing I can't handle. I was here the other night and inferred he'd be somewhere around this area. And yes, I'm doing fine. Better now that I know you're alive. Aw, Javier. It's unusual to see Javier as this expressive and worried, but maybe it's because he knows he nearly let me die. Oh, wait, you guys came here the other night? Yes, when we left the speakeasy, we can talk about this later. We should let the gentleman do business. We look over and see Magnus and the tiger chuckling as they discuss who knows what, while Helix stands off to the side, waiting. The air in the room feels tense and oddly formal. But where's Slate? I turn back to Javier and see the massive gator slowly approaching him from behind. Wait, that's right. I made a deal with... You must be Javier. Yes, that's correct. Who you are... Slate. And I'm not sure if Theodore had mentioned it to you yet, but we made a deal. Javier shoots me aside, returning his attention to the gator. No, he hasn't. Ha! Well, that's fine. I guess it wasn't his top priority to tell you. I told him some info about Blackout, but in return I want some data that I know you folks at ARC have. I see. What makes you so sure we have it? What if we don't? The Del Paskin incident. I know you have this documented somewhere in your archives. Del Paskin? Doesn't ring a bell. Are you sure you're not thinking of something else? The incident where all the researchers disappeared on the oil rig in the Pacific. Why would ARC investigate something like that when it's international waters? That's what I want to know. I can see confusion growing on Javier's face, but he shakes his head at last and shrugs. Well, I won't argue if you're so keen on saying we have this info. I can go and retrieve it for you, but if it's not there, then there's no ifs. I know it's there. Fine. Haha! Excellent. He will accompany you to retrieve the data. The gator points to Helix, who seems oblivious to our conversation from across the room. Javier turns to look at me, and that's when I finally speak up. Sorry, I was just curious to learn more about Blackout. So you decided to make a decision on my behalf? You know that's breaking the contract you signed. Ah, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Well, just be lucky it wasn't anything important. I, for one, have never heard of this Del Paskin incident before. I would have if it was related to our current research. If it's not related, do you think Slate would want it? Hello? You'd think I'd know? It's probably connected to something else that Blackout is involved in. We can talk about it later when we get to my place. I'll need to amend my case report anyway. I knew it. That asshole ruining our plans like that. Who does he think he is? Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. Hey, you're scaring our client. Calm down, would yous? It is understandable, but please remain civil. So you're saying that shithead changed our meetup times, then tried to take me out? No, but it does appear that way. Oh, that's rich. Who is this? Tiger said his name was Lawrence. Helix turns around and glares in my direction, making my heart jump. Yes, that's right. Lawrence. Tall, gray wolf. He wears a pair of smart sunglasses. I guess you can call it that. He was wearing a large black coat. Rampacagnolio. Rampicaglione. Put his name on the list. Fuck the list. I'm gonna take him out personally. You, Tiger, take me to Lawrence. But we don't even know where he could be. No. The Tiger's voice is loud and firm, and the entire room goes silent. We let go of the Tiger. I've already given him a task to do on the condition of his freedom. I do not need you to drag him around anymore. That is final. You understand me? Yes. We will accompany the Fox first to retrieve Slate's data. There's a low growl from Helix as he crushes the pen in his paw with ease. I can feel the tension crackling in the air. Yes? Fine. The Tiger smacks the back of Helix's head, causing me to flinch. No respect. The boss adjusts his sleeves and returns his attention to Magnus. Thank yous. Be in contact in the future. I look forward to seeing the potential returns. They exchange farewells. Slate and the Tiger share a few words out of earshot. We'll be waiting, so I reckon you best not waste our time. One of the lion bodyguards opened the door for Slate and his boss to exit, leaving Magnus, Javier, and Helix and me behind. His voice is quiet, and we all turn to stare at the snow leopard. Tell me everything you know about Lawrence. Where can I find him? Where he works? Where he lives? Everyone he knows. And why should we tell you that? Because after we get Slate's stupid data, the son of a bitch is going down whether you help me or not. There's a sudden knock at another door from the other side of the room. Hey, Big Gus. Dad wants to know if you'll be free after this meeting. David, what are you doing here? Mr. Theodore, you're here! He runs towards me, but this time I'm ready for the sudden embrace from him, and I'm able to lean back just in time, avoiding his antlers. How did the meeting go? I heard from Mr. Javier that this one was very important. Heh, you could say that. Hey, who's this guy? David's eyes light up as he looks over at Helix, whose face is still darkened with anger. I don't have fucking time for this rabble. I'm giving you guys 2 minutes to say your goodbyes. I'll be waiting outside. Helix shakes his head in annoyance as he storms out. Don't worry about that guy, he's just upset. He's always upset. This entire VN, he's just been pissed off at everyone. I mean, he has a lot going on, so I don't necessarily blame him. Oh no, maybe he should talk it out with someone. That's what I do when I'm upset. I look over to Javier, who's suddenly shaking his head as he taps his wrist with urgency. I think we should get going. Aw, leaving so soon? That's okay, you can come back tomorrow. I won't be here tomorrow, most likely. I look at Javier one more time for reassurance before returning my gaze to the reindeer. I think I'll be heading home soon. But we had so much fun together. Can't you stay for another day? No, I'm sorry, David. I have to go back home after all this. Okay, but I'll never forget you, Mr. Gardner Theodore. I'll even write an article about you, maybe two. I'll use the photos you took from my latest magazine. I can't help but chuckle. Javier suddenly grabs my arms and leads me towards the exit. We will keep in contact, Javier. Javier keeps walking, and for a moment it looks like he's blushing. I look back and wave to David and Magnus. Sure thing, David. Take care, you guys. Crazy to think I might actually miss the little guy. Get in. Don't try anything unless you want to get shocked. The interior is cramped. A stale mess of sweat, chemicals, and a stale smell of sweat and chemicals clings to the worn seats. The tinted windows block out most of the daylight, making it feel even more claustrophobic. We both try to slide into the back seat of the car as best we can, our wrists still bound and pressed awkwardly against our sides. He points at the collars he strapped on us just moments ago. I look over to Javier, who's rolling his eyes in annoyance while already trying to tamper with his bit flipper. Helix slides into the driver's seat and adjusts a few dials on his dashboard. A faint beeping sound comes from what looks like a custom security console. His piercing, cold gaze lands on me through the rearview mirror. Where's your office? What's the route? Javier opens his mouth, only to hesitate before looking over at me. Drive to the highway and exit by the east interchange. But it's by the newly developed plaza. The car jolts forward, pulling out of the parking lot, swerving onto the main road in one quick motion. The engine rattles in protest, but Helix seems unfazed. Listen up. I'll be as civil as possible about this. You tell me everything you know about Lawrence, and I'll let you two go after I get the data. Otherwise, he waves the remote in his paw, the one linked to our shock collars, taunting us. Yeah, we're not scared of your empty threats. We're not? I've seen how you are around that gator, and something tells me he wouldn't be happy if he found out the reason he couldn't get the info is because of you. Would you shut the fuck up? Snow Leopard raises his voice, his claws visibly digging into the steering wheel. A low growl rumbles from him like he's barely holding back his anger. Just tell me about that fucking wolf. Are you trying to protect him or some shit? The wolf you're trying to look for has his personal data privatized in our database. I don't know much about him besides the fact that he's well endowed. Helix and I both raise an eyebrow at Javier's last remark, which causes him to glare at us in disgust. I mean, he's rich. I don't think I meant anything else. I've never seen the man's penis, and I never wish to. Right, but about his data, why would it be privatized unless he has something to hide? Employees at ARC can opt to have their personal information privatized in the database for legal reasons within the company. It doesn't mean it's not there, but... Great, I don't give a fuck. Can you find it or not? It's privatized, right? Just to code the hash value with a standard of 512-bit cipher to reverse the salt. Or do you even know what I'm saying? My eyes widen in surprise. I didn't expect Helix to understand any of this. The mention of those technical terms from him feels bizarre. Maybe something like that would fly in Blackout, but we at ARC use a more sophisticated encryption scheme. What you're mentioning has been outdated for a decade now. It's all about integrating two-way noise quantum steganography now. Yeah? And that gets cracked right away with a 4-pass decoupler. You don't think I know? You're smart, I'll give you credit for that, but your workplace doesn't have access to the latest tech from the black market. Javier remains silent, simmering in defeat, his face visibly annoyed that he doesn't have a comeback. Well, now that I know that, you better get a look up on Lawrence while we get the data. Fine. Alright, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!